Sitting at the back of the cinema, I'm alone in the last 5 rows. The air is still and quiet. The place is lit by a dark crimson glow. The seats are a deep scarlet velvet, and the dark, thick curtains are closing. The film has finished, and people file by slowly, murmuring quietly. I am lost in thought, head down, hands in my lap, the people from the film in my head continuing their lives, and I watch the film replay and evolve in my mind. I hear a noise, and I look up to see several figures in the darkness next to me. No one speaks. I looked from one to the other. They were in their early 20s, clean-shaven, dark hair, in jeans. They look at me without expression, just watching and seemingly waiting. My breathing quickens. They don't look as if they want to do me any harm. I wait to see what they will do, but I can already feel myself become excited as I realize what they could do. When Anne knocked briskly on my door and let herself in, kicking off her shoes before flopping onto the sofa in front of me, I had just finished reading the same page for the 10th time. I was restless. I didn't want to work. I could see that it was a glorious day out, the kind where the sky is a vivid blue, the kind that you know will end in a golden light, and even though I was slightly annoyed at Anne's presumptuous interruption, I would admit to feeling relief at having an excuse to put down the papers beside me and to look at her, wondering what had happened to make her so fidgety. She could hardly keep still in her seat. She was squirming, and her eyes were bright as she grinned. Her polite patience, while I finished with my work, pushed to its limits. I turned to look at her. "You look as if you're in a good mood," I said. "What's happened?" Half out of the chair, straining forward, she laughed, and then sat back, sitting on her hands. "I'm bursting," she said. "I need to tell someone this idea I have." "Oh?" An eyebrow arched. I was still calm amidst all her movement. "Well, there's this guy I write to, okay?" I nodded, knowing that she would start speaking before I could open my mouth to reply. "We're friends, but sometimes we tell each other about certain, images we like." She stopped suddenly, and it was obvious that I was supposed to say something. "Images? Well, like things that turn us on." She looked up at me quickly. I smiled. "Ah." And, well, he happened to mention how much he liked asses. When she looked up at me, I was smiling calmly at her, but she was avoiding my gaze while she spoke. About the idea of a woman bent over, facing away from him, about how he would enjoy the sight, and how he'd want to reach out to pull aside her panties, stare at her ass, and then lick her. I wasn't smiling so calmly when she looked at me again. I changed position uneasily in my chair, tucking my feet under me, aware of her throbbing between my legs. "So, what about it?" The sun had begun to set as I said this, and I noticed that the room was filled with long shadows. Neither of us moved to switch on a light. I realized that I had a similar fantasy, and that I wanted to share it with someone. I nodded. "Are you going to write it to your friend?" "I might, but I want to tell it now. To you. I can't wait. Do you mind?" She was motionless in the chair. Even though it was getting quite dark in the room, I could tell that she was staring at me. "Sure, go ahead. Are you sitting comfortably?" We laughed. I heard her shifting in the chair, pulling her legs close into her. "I'm ready. Let's hear it." She started.